Alright, so today's video, we're watching a Gold 5 tank on PC. This is a wide match, apparently, so this will be even more interesting. This is the highest rank I've been on tank in a long time, so the pressure was on. Despite recently hitting level 1000, I'd been hardstuck silver for months. Thankfully, the other tank was feeding more than I was at first, but then the inevitable Zarya swap happened and things got tough. The two of us were playing counter swap rodeo after that, and this was one of the most teeth-gritting games of my life. I took a gamble at the very end. You'll have to see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to advice for D.Va and Sigma especially. So we got basically a player who has been in silver for a long time, level 1000, now in gold, has to play the counter swap game in a wide match, all of that at once. We got a lot happening here. So let's find out. Here we go. D.Va on Shabali is an interesting choice. Not my favorite, just because I feel like there's a lot of, you're almost like forced into a lot of close range situations, and D.Va won't benefit from that, right? D.Va just won't. So, it's, like, yes, you want to be close to D.Va, but you don't want to be stuck brawling as D.Va. The Ryan versus D.Va is fine, though. I don't mind that matchup one bit. I mean, already, like, something you just did right there, you flew right in front of a Reinhardt, so you didn't have your flight up. Like, that's how you get demeched really easily. You can't like, waste your flight for that. It just can't happen in that situation. Obviously, like right there, that's stuff you don't want to do against a Rein. Just be patient, shoot the Rein shield, break their shield, and then if you fly in, you're going to get demeched, or they're going to, it's not, even if you don't get demeched, it's like you're forcing your supports to have to pump so many heals in you. So. Yeah, you're all in a bit too much. I mean, maybe you'll kill the Rein here. I don't know, Wag. This is wild, by the way. Yep. Target focus. Okay. Wow, what a start. I mean, already, like, one thing I'll tell you, and it's working, is just, like, remember what the advice I usually give is just don't play D.Va like you're gonna play Reinhardt, and so far you've been kind of, that might be a good ult. I was gonna say that was a good location. Playing really close to them like you are, that's just asking to get. Okay, so listen, I am all for a remech, but if there's a venture in front of you and you're gonna try to remech on them, that's what's gonna happen a lot of the time. I mean, listen, I love a good remech. It's great, but I mean, come on. Did your friend thinks Reinhardt ultimate is S tier and OP and needs a nerf? Do I agree with him? I'm gonna have to look at my tier list when that tier list is out. I made an ultimate tier list. I don't know when it goes out, or if it's even been posted yet. Now you're gonna fly back. Obviously, you've given them a free pick. Yeah, I mean, Rein in metal ranks apparently is really strong to begin with. Like, that's always been why there's been a constant back and forth between Rein balance, right? Is because the hero, like, Rein itself is a hero that does really well in some ranks. Now, I say some ranks because there's also other ranks where Rein doesn't do as well. I've heard Rein's gotten a little bit better since the Orisa nerfs. And I wouldn't doubt it if Rein becomes really strong after the changes to tanks. If I'm correct, good job getting out of there, by the way, with the flight control. If I recall, isn't Reinhardt like one of the heroes that's going to get also a benefit, like a damage benefit from the new patch? And like D.Va's the exact opposite. Like D.Va's the armor's gonna like make it so D.Va does less damage, type of thing. So we'll see what happens. Like there's a lot to happen with that patch. Also, you had two options here. I think you made the right one. One of them is either go for the Reinhardt, and the other one is like push in and prevent everybody from getting heals in the Rein. I think you made the right play. And Rein getting a limb is just a product of Rein getting a limb. I think Rein gets that a limb no matter what. And there's a chance they get healed up even more and can maybe pick up another limb. So you made the right play. Because you can DM the heals on whoever, on the Reinhardt too, so. Yeah. You said you're a Rein magnet every charge and fire strike hits? Well, see, whenever I play against Rein, I always get charged. When I do play Rein, it's almost kind of like I'm like oiled up, and I just slide off everybody whenever I play Rein. I see what you're trying to do, but I'm telling you, the risk reward of that play. Listen, get your remax when it's time, but the risk reward there. Did wave into 0 limbs? Yeah. Yeah, they played. In the league. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think you're gonna see teams play Ryan for sure. Like, I definitely don't question it. Because I think that Ryan will get better with a lot of the patches, and I think Ryan already was gonna start getting a little bit better because Shatter was better. But like, it also depends if Kiriko's being played a lot, right? If Kiriko's being played a lot, Ryan loses a bit of that value. If Bap's being played instead, then Ryan still gets that value. I mean, you're on to a good start. Now they're on Zarya. So I've always tried to teach people playing Zarya that, like, or D.Va against Zarya, is that you don't want to give them this type of situation. And this is what you're. I need to get you out of the habit of this. Like, I want to get you out of the habit of this play right here specifically. What I mean by this type of play is you're basically giving Zarya value, right? And you have plenty of room, space, and opportunity to take away the value of Zarya, but instead you're face tanking. Now, you're going to see me do this sometimes against a Zarya too. It's very situational. But keep in mind, you're on Shambhala, right? So the way this map will play is you have opportunity to go to different areas of the map. You can't face tank, which was my concern with playing D.Va on this map, and you're probably going to have to swap because the Zarya will just get too much value. But make the Zarya have to earn that value, not give the Zarya that free value. And right now, what you're doing is you're giving that Zarya the free value by just sitting here in front of them. Look what the card is. Like, you want to be on the high ground, right? But you're flying into people. And something that you're doing a lot, and you did it against the Rhine too, is you're flying into the team. I don't really want to see you fly into the team unless, like, it's a guaranteed a limb or you're leading the charge with your team to go and make a play. Don't just fly into them and then have to wait to fly out. That is how your supports will fall behind on heals. That's how you'll lose value, etc. So. Now, what rank do you start truly learning maps? I think as you climb, you learn how to play the maps more. I don't think it's about learning maps. I think a lot of players know the maps. It's just learning how to play the maps is the tough part. It's just as you climb. I think as you climb, you start to know more. Because players have to play it differently. Like, more value is being had from heroes. But anyway, yeah, I want you to stop, like, really going into their team and frontlining, things like that. It's just not going to be the play. Okay, so with that ultimate, I get, like, what you're trying to do, but, like, you have to look at what heroes are in front of you and where they can go. If you're ulting here, and it takes a while to get there, they're gonna go here. They can, like, there's so many hiding spots, and you have the Zarya in front of your face. Now, you've heard me say, oh, if Zarya uses 2 bubbles, you can ult. It doesn't mean you have to ult. You're just gonna get killed by the Zarya, because there's a Zarya right in front of you. It's, like, the easiest to limb for Zarya. So you're basically playing into how they're playing. Oh, I mean, listen, in top of my 100 games, I barely can get D.Va ult to win. It's not easy. With player position, but, like, that is a situation right there where if you ult right there, the only thing that's going to happen is exactly what happened. Zarya is going to get you because they're running at you when they see you in a straight line. They just see you. And then you're probably going to get no limps. So it's like, it's not even like an ultimate that's going to do anything for your team. You know, the Zarya's good here. That's the correct play, and you're heck now. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, okay. You're doing it again. And I don't know if it's because you're trying to get boop damage. I just want to point out the boop damage right now in Overwatch is very minimal. It's not like right at the beginning of Overwatch 2 where it was actually pretty good. It's still good to do it sometimes, but, like, trying to boop damage a Zarya, it ain't the way to do it. So I just want to point that out. I can already see you're doing that, and not the plan. No, but, like, okay, so just to point out, talking about DM and soldiers, etc. What they're doing is they're flying in, and then they're just going right into the team. They're not. You can DM that ultimate from range. If you're trying to fly 2 feet in front of you to give up your flight cooldown, you're not going to be able to do. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There's no value in just basically feeding into the team with the boop damage you're going to do. It's just not going to work. It doesn't do enough effective damage.
Weapons optimized.
By the way, if you were, like, questioning when you should have swapped, I'd say about 2 fights ago. If you keep playing the way that you're playing. That's a fine play. You're peeling back. Okay, but so you said you think they're trying to close the gap. No, I know what they're doing. What I'm saying is, as D.Va, you don't want to do that as much. You don't want to use your flight into the team. I mean, you don't even have to go for the supports because you might run into the same issue. Like, you have to play angles. Like, this is technically an angle. So, like, if you were in this, like, if D.Va was in this spot right here without using flight, I'd be like, okay, maybe, right? But D.Va's flying to these spots in front of their team. And that's why you don't want to, like, that's why you have to play smarter with that one. It's because you're just giving them, like, free opportunity to get you. And then when you fly away, you have to fly past them, and then you're, like, right there, you did it again. You're doing the same thing. You're just flying into them. So you're just overcommitting all your cooldowns. An example would be like, if you're gonna fly right now, like actually right now it's fine because like yours already there, but like there, like you see what you're doing? You're just like now you're gonna ult, right? This part's obvious. Okay, yeah, there you go. Got in the limb somehow, miraculously. Maybe the cart moved, I have no idea. But you don't want to just fly into them and then it's just an easy way to get demeched and lose value. That's basically what I'm trying to say. There's no... You're not gap closing, which is basically what that means is as like a player, you're trying to get space. Your space is like, you're gonna either push forward into them and take it like methodically and then go make a play if you need to, not I'm gonna fly 2 feet to move up 2 feet and then shoot at them. Because then your escape is, you're losing your escape, you're taking too much poke damage, especially now in Season 9, or sorry, Season 10 with the Season 9 changes. And this could change at the mid-season patch with the new tank changes. You're losing a lot of value by the playing that way. We'll see how it goes though now. Obviously you're on Sigma, so this could be a little bit better for you. They're gonna have a Reinhardt. If you went back to spawn right now and switched to D.Va after you saw the Rein, I'd be okay with that. And I know I know they have a sim. The comp they have right now, you'd be okay against. If that's a comfort pick for you. Reinhardt is actually a really good Sigma counter, and if there is a Rein, play distance. Okay, don't face tank. An example is if you remember, if anybody got to catch some of like the EMEA matches for OWCS. Do you remember that every time that SSG would go up against a Sigma comp, they would switch to Rein right away? Even when Rein was like at like, you know, this is like during the strong Orisa meta. It's because Rein against Sigma is just such a good matchup. And that's why I always tell people if you're playing against a Rein as Sigma, you want to make sure that you're playing Sigma. And you're not trying to play Rein, you're not trying to play Sigma like Rein. So as long as you keep your distance and you spam out the Rein shield and make it difficult to the Rein, you're going to be in a good spot. If you try to face tank them, you're definitely going to run into some issues. So, this is a fine play right here. Staying away from the Rein, recognizing their backlines, you know, a little bit out of position. This is all a good set of plays for you. Now the Rein's on you. You probably should have been out of there a little bit sooner because you had heard them, but you also have numbers, so this is okay. When you have numbers, you can get away with playing like this, and even I'll probably do that. We call that a big slam! You can ult here if you want to. Just remember they have a life leader. Alright. Only reason why I say remember they have a Life Weaver is because Life Weaver is one of the few heroes that has 3 different ways to interrupt Sigma's ultimate. Like, believe it or not, Life Weaver has 3 ways to counter Sigma ultimate. One of those ways is you can place the tree on the center of the ultimate. Another way is you can place your petal on the center of the Sigma ultimate. And then 3, Life Weaver can pull somebody out of your Sigma ultimate. So you have 3 different ways that can technically ruin your ultimate completely. So that's why I say be careful of the Life Weaver. I generally, against the Life Weaver, just solo out the Life Weaver now. Because at that point, I can at least get them to use their cooldowns a little bit out of position or like where I want them to. So that's what I've been doing more and more now and seeing a little bit more effectiveness from that. So I've had to solo out the Life Weaver a lot more now because of that. Can you demech yourself as D.Va? Yeah, you run with other teams. But is there a button to demech? No. You said canceling ults with cooldowns is crazy? What do you mean? Like, isn't like that... Isn't like a ton of like heroes have the ability to do that? Like, I'll introduce Lamp to you. Or Suzu. A lot of damage here. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those they had fights. Or not fights, like they had damage coming back, so. Yeah, hack, yep. Sleep dart, a bunch of different stuff.
Time to save the world?
Yep. Defense matrix, yeah. Okay, you're back on D.Va. I'll give this to you. I did mention I don't mind D.Va against their comp. And keep in mind, too, the reason why I like the Rein comp is that you can play a range where Rein can't do any damage to you, but you can also make their shield feel ineffective, and then you can burst damage them down really quickly. And that's what makes it so good against a Reinhardt as D.Va, is that you have the ability to constantly poke, right? It's a very consistent poke. It's a lot. It's just you can constantly make sure that shield is taking damage, and it's really hard to miss the Rein shield too, right? Especially on D.Va, which also benefits you because of the range on that stuff. That's why I do like the D.Va swap against the Rein. It's on everybody's favorite matchup, but it's one that I think when I did my D.Va guide video, which I probably need to update eventually now with the new tank changes again. But one of the things I mentioned was that I really did like the D.Va versus Reinhardt matchup, and that hasn't changed yet for me. That hasn't changed yet for me. In like in a scrim or like match setting, different on that one, but yeah. Taco, thanks for the 31 months of the British Prime. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Is Zarya a good pick? No, Zarya's like okay. I mean, it depends. Why did Life Weaver use Tree? I try not to question some of the ultimates that'll happen, unless I'm watching the person do it. You can ult this if you want to. It's a free guaranteed point if you do. But I don't think you have to. Now you can. You're gonna lose your time because of the Ryan though. To have a good ult. I mean, that could work. Just be careful of the Ryan. Nice. I'm not gonna play the music during that song because that was, remember how I said like using your ultimate would probably be a free team fight win? That was an expected play. They weren't gonna be able to do anything. Like if they touch card, they lose 3 there. The Reinhardt had no shield, so they couldn't actually touch it either. It was just like one of those. That was gonna happen regardless of that play, unless your team like really hecked up. Lux Turner, thanks for the 24 months of the tier 1. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. What rank is this? This is a gold 5 tank who has been stuck in silver for a long time. So they finally made it to. It's also a wide range one. Like I think it says bronze 1 to gold 5, so it's like quite a range of a match too. They're on Sigma now. I mean, Sigma is okay against D.Va. I think, if I recall correctly, I think I had Sigma in like the middle ground matchup for D.Va. Like, if this was me, I'd go, I'm gonna switch to Sigma after this play. Like whatever happens, like if we snowball, then great, we go in, we win the fight. If we don't, then I'll probably switch Sigma for the rest of the team fight, just to be able to like kind of match them in a good way. So, yeah. You know what I love about that whole play right there? You know what's amazing about that whole sequence? Was the commitment by the soldier to keep sprinting into the tree that clearly was in their way. You know what I mean? Like, like the tree was not moving, but their commitment to just sprinting into the cart, like just like, no, I am gonna keep just going into this cart. Like their commitment to that was amazing. I love that. I just love that. I love that. But the thing is, I think I've done that before. You're kind of just hoping that the Life Weaver tree's done and that it's gonna just go, you know. Yeah, I just go this way, I'll get right through. You can ult again. Guarantee the point. Sigma used a... Okay, well, you got a remech limb. Of course you did. Yeah, go up with your ult there. That like... I've taught the concept of like using the slide ultimate, right? So the reason why you do the slide ultimate, and sometimes it breaks because of like, it probably got stuck on this or something like that. You want to go up in the air with it a little bit. Not like up here where it does nothing, but you want to go up in the air like here would be a perfect spot because they're forced to hide on each side. And then they also need someone to stay on cart, right? So if you ult up here, then more than likely you either get in the limb when somebody's forced to go to the cart, and you have a bit more of a safety net when you back up. I know you got the remech limb on like their Genji, but you can't bank on that, right? The safer play here will generally be the better play, especially considering you can have a good ult spot that lands in a spot where they can't really do anything. So you either get the point for free. At the very worst, you like break a Sigma shield if they're still there, like, but it takes away so much of their value, you know? By the way, if you're gonna fly right here, because this is where you'll start to see me fly at them, at that range. The reason why, by the way, did they, okay, I don't know if they missed the imp or not. The reason why, on the Sigma that is, I fly in is because you can do a bunch of boop damage, like displacement to them, and then you fly around kind of back to where you were, not just fly in and hit the button. Does that make sense? So the boop damage doesn't do a ton, but you can displace them and make it frustrating for them and also absorb a little bit of damage, but you want to like say you fly into them here, you want to fly into them, then also end up back where you were, not fly into them and just stand there. That's how you get DMAC'd alive. So, what's the reason to use the slide ultimate? If they're in a spot that's a guaranteed a limb, and you know that their only spots are like to run to the side, like let me give you an example. Let's say the D.Va ult's here on a slide, right? And they're right here, and you know their only option is to run right here. The slide basically guarantees it stops at a good point and they get killed. Does that make sense? If you fly it straight up into the air, it might give them a little bit more time to like go to like a spot. But if you slide it, it also stops in a really good spot and kind of keeps them in like it just basically almost guarantees you a limb. The reason why you don't slide it by default every single time is because it does slow down. So let's say that like they're here and I slide it, like it's a bit more obvious. They have a bit more time to go away. So that's why the recommended is usually kind of like middle of the air, or like you slide it when they're in a bad spot. Like you almost like bowling. It's I wish I could explain it more effectively, but like it just you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. Your flight up to there with your play, I'm okay with that. I want to show you examples of good, like, going into their team and when you want to take that space creation and then not take that style. But against this comp, you have a little bit more opportunity. Good target focus. Good job. You got the kill streak going. Not bad. All right, that was good. I mean, a good attack. Obviously, like I said, like I've explained a few of the plays that you can do better, but okay, now you're on Sigma. This is fine. Okay, chat, I want to ask a question. Why do I not want the Sigma to play here right now? Just for now. Why do I not want the Sigma to play here? I want you to ignore the heroes they have, but also that's a part of it. The reason why, by the way, this spot is fine sometimes. Keep this in mind. This spot is a fine spot. Bastion on the high ground is fine. It's because their tank has been defaulted Reinhardt every single time, right? You ever hear when I say like, okay, this is a safe pick for me? We know that they're Reinhardt, but they like to pick Reinhardt pretty much every single time so far, right? They've been playing Rein. Rein's like their go-to. So you actually want to take away the value of that Rein. If you stand here, this is going to give value to that Reinhardt. You see what I'm saying? Yes, you have a crossfire, but there's a certain point where like their team also has that same type of crossfire / angle where they can shoot you. So if you sit down here, it's a little bit safer to stay up here with your team, and then you can readjust. If their Rein goes up here, you can then change, but like being here as a default means you're stuck here. But this gives the Reinhardt so much opportunity. And yes, technically the Reinhardt can take the high ground a lot easier. So a default spot is good here. Let's say they go a comp that Sigma can't really get rolled by, then yeah, you can go right here. So this spot's like okay. It just in this situation where you know they're going Rein, I would recommend the safer spot because you can always go to the spot, right? Especially when you have a grasp of like what comp they're running.
Attackers incoming.
Evidence suggests a sniper.
I want to see your reaction when you see the Rein. Actually, honestly, I don't mind. I like this a little bit better. And chat's gonna go, you just told us not to play close to the Rein. I like it because you're doing the whole close strat. Basically, you know you're gonna get rolled, but I like that like you're committing to the whole close strat. Your team isn't there, but like that's the strat you'll see in this. It's basically you create an extra team fight. At the same time, your team isn't there, and now this is the problem I'm gonna run into, is that you're asking, oh, the Rein just kind of got rolled there. But basically, you're making it a lot easier on the Rein again. So like, this is the part where you want to reposition. When you play close like that, where you initially were, I'm okay with that because you're just creating a 13 fight. But that's more of like that's a very niche play you'll see, and that usually only happens like matches for like top 500 games, etc. Or if you're running the bank. Try not to stay there for too long though. There is a chance that you can get rolled here by their Reinhardt. Although it looks like your Bastion is literally popping off, and you might just. Yep. Like I want to point out something. Your Bastion just got like what, 3 or 4? If I'm correct? I think it was 3. And you still lost that fight. Like that Reinhardt was still able to get value on you, even in a fight that was like not in their advantage. Because you just struggle against that close range. And that's why like your position becomes so important in that spot. So like you end up playing that well as a team and you still lose because you're just playing into their team comps. Or maybe you don't lose. Your Mercy's popping off and just gone on the limb. Although this might be bad because they also might over-ult. Valk, Nano. You swapping? Because I would... Okay. I don't mind it. There's a Bastion ult? There's no way they all get off the cart, right? Well, yeah, they do get off the cart. In a way that I did not expect. Big slam! You having fun flying into their team? I'm just gonna pause, win or lose here. Okay, are you ready? Your teammate gets 2 limbs. Your first reaction is to fly to the cart by yourself and then get 1v2'd essentially by their team. You see the problem here? It's okay just to wait a second, right? It's okay to just kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna wait right here. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna go in. We have a 5v3. The last thing we want to do is give him a free limb. You just fly right in, right? And this is kind of, once again, goes back to what we're talking about. Like, you're just overcommitting every single team fight. And sometimes you're getting punished for it, and sometimes you're not. But you're leaving too much up for the other team to, like, have to make a mistake for you to be able to make a play. That's why you want to fix the consistency. Stop overcommitting your flight into the team.
Don't tilt, Hana. You got this. Negative.
Well, that Rein's Right there. Good job beating the orb. That was good. Yeah, this is, yeah, and now you stay there. Ryan's hacked, stay right there. That's a free limb. Good job beating the orb again. Good sequence right there. You know, what you could argue about the cart, this and that. I'm okay with you just getting in a limb. I think that's okay. Yeah, you could have maybe gone cart, but I'd rather see you kill the Reinhardt, guarantee the limb, and then stick together. And by the way, this is just to kind of pause. That's also kind of why, like, you don't overcommit sometimes when your teammates get those picked, because you have the opportunity to, like, do a slight regroup and win. You see how you got in the limb, and then you went in as 5, and then you won? That is what you needed to do the fight before, and the cart would be probably about here, rather than up here and captured. So that's where the misplays can really add up, where it doesn't seem like it's the worst misplay, but it leads to an extra, you know, a whole point. I mean, a point got captured because of it. So that's why I always say, like, when it all adds up, and you need to be careful of that. All right, now you're on Zarya. Okay, I was gonna say, I saw you go Zarya, and I'm like, if you know they're gonna run Ryan, I wouldn't recommend. Now you're on Mauga. Okay, I don't mind Mauga here. Mauga's a hero that can frustrate pretty much any tank, but can also feed against any tank. Does that make sense? Like, you have the ability to frustrate the other tank, but it's gonna be about how you play it more than anything. Remember, when you use your cardiac overdrive, you have a lot more value there than you're kind of showcasing. And what I mean by that is you have damage reduction and you have lifesteal. And your teammates who are within range of you also get the damage reduction and lifesteal. To take advantage of that cardiac overdrive a little bit more, also try not to use it right when you're reloading. Like, you lost a second of your cardiac overdrive. But remember, you have a bit more value on that one. So here we go. Carol, thanks for the 7 months of the tier 1. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Spooky, thank you for the 9 months of the British Prime stuff. That is almost a year. Thanks. Is Mauga the only dot damage over time tank? Yes. I think so, yeah. No, Junker Queen. Junker Queen has bleed. Junker Queen has dots. Junker Queen and Mauga. I was thinking of basically like Dynamite and like Mauga and that, and I'm like, wait a second, no, Winston doesn't really have. Winston has like AOE damage. Winston doesn't like put a dot on you. Dot is damage over time, as in like, say Winston hit you with like you know, the left click and it added like an extra damage output. That would be that. So. Yep. And Mauga ended up being good here. Bit more survivability. You know, your team benefits from it as long as you're playing together. So, ended up being a good game there. A good swap at the end on playing Mauga. But, like, there's a few things that, like, overall I would try to at least readjust in how you're playing in general. But overall, I mean, wasn't too bad, right? Wasn't too bad at all. And you got the dub. Overall, I think, like, for you to continue on, like, an upward climb, especially, like, in ranked, is you really need to find ways as when you're playing D.Va to stop just flying into their team and commit to them like you are. I really want you to start thinking about off angles, and that is, like, playing at a range, playing at an angle. Remember, your defense matrix has range. And once you start to realize that your DM has range and that you can play angles and still get really good effective damage, you'll stop flying into their team. And you go, well, we won, and sometimes it was working. Yes, but that doesn't mean that you want to consistently make that your play, because as you climb, and that's also why you can get stuck, is you're relying so much on the team that you're going against making a mistake rather than you making a play. So you want to make less of my plays are reliant on the other team making a mistake and more of you're making plays. You get what I'm saying? That don't rely on those mistakes. So, yes, getting a limbs is like that on Overwatch, but you flying into their team and using your cooldowns is going to make it so you're consistently... One thing is for sure, you're going to consistently feed. And that is where you want to minimize on that, right? As a tank, you have to feed... I always say, as a tank, you feed efficiently. And right now, you're not feeding efficiently. You're just... I'm not saying you're overfeeding, but you're doing a lot of feeds. That will result in a lot of inconsistencies because it relies on, like I said, them making a mistake, your support's paying attention to your HP. So I want you to concentrate more on how can I reduce the effectiveness of the hero in front of me, and how can I do that without flying into them? That's how I see it. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit your own spectator, look in the description below. You'll see my Discord. That's where you do that. Also, leave a comment. All of it helps. Also, we record these live on stream. If you look below the webcam, you'll see the Twitch chat. Stop by. We have a lot of fun here. With that being said, hope you have an amazing day/night.